Morning, everybody. So, sticking to the plan of trying to start as close to when we are scheduled to start as possible. Hopefully we will have people continue to wander in and everything, but just for any of you that don't know me, I'm George Gay. I'm CEO at First Affirmative and wanted to welcome you to this session for information about First Affirmative, and then of course rolling into the rest of the conference as we go through the day. The structure this morning is we're going to have about 2 hours of presentations. We'll have a brief coffee break between the first one and the second one, and so we will go ahead with that. Basically, Teresa Gussman, our Chief Investment Officer, will make the first part of the presentation, and then I will make the second part. So I see a few more people coming in, I think. One of the things, if you've never stood up here at the podium with your light in your eyes, it's hard to realize how hard it is to see out into the crowd. So anyway, I think I've wasted enough time vamping here. So I'd like to ask Teresa to come up to the podium and make a brief announcement and then roll into her presentation.
So good morning, everyone, and I'd also like to say welcome to the Broadmoor. Hope you've all had a great morning so far. As George said,
I'm into it a little bit more.
Okay. As George said, I'm going to make a brief announcement. Then George and I will take a few questions, and then we'll get on with our planned presentation, which is the introduction of our new direct index sustainable investment solution. On October 5th, last Tuesday, Goldman Sachs notified First Affirmative that in 6 months it will no longer support its digital wealth platform or Affirmative ESG. Until then, First Affirmative cannot update impact preferences, risk-based constraints, or mutual fund or ETF options on the platform, and Goldman will be available only for troubleshooting during that time. So what does this mean for your clients? Most importantly, both First Affirmative and Goldman Sachs will continue to support existing Affirmative ESG accounts, and of course will continue to support the managed mutual fund and multi-manager accounts on the Goldman platform. For the next 6 months, you'll be able to choose whether you want existing accounts to be re-optimized manually on the Affirmative ESG platform or moved into the direct index solution for re-optimization. You'll also be able to choose whether or not you would like to open new accounts on the Affirmative ESG platform or using our new direct index solution. We strongly encourage you to move directly to our state-of-the-art custom direct index solution, and we're here to help you every step of the way. We'll be doing one-on-one demos and group demos along with our partners in this venture, Your Stake, during the conference. So please set up an appointment with my colleague Rich, with Gabe and Patrick from Your Stake, visit our booths, and we will demo the new technology and the integration that we've been working on. At this point, George and I will take questions about Affirmative ESG, and then I'll move on to introducing the direct index solution. Yep.
So you mentioned that between now and 6 months, they're going to end. But I just want to be clear, so authorization for anything in Folio or Goldman Sachs has ended for automated authorization.
They've told us that they're not shutting down the platform, which means that the optimizations will be able to continue. However, we cannot update the impact preferences on the platform, which means that the data on the platform will continue to get more and more outdated as we move forward. That's well, it's not the reason. We've been working on this direct index solution for many reasons, not the least of which it is state of the art. But what you'll be able to do there is use the Your Stake questionnaire. That will feed directly into impact preferences on the new platform at Orion, and we'll be able to optimize there. So you won't get a portfolio immediately, but we will be able to deliver a portfolio within a very short period of time that has, very well-aligned impact preferences and up-to-date ones. Yes.
So what kind of repapering or work is going to necessitate the client?
So the client would be, let's put it this way. I switched my account from the Affirmative ESG platform to a direct index solution, and I moved from the Goldman custodial platform to Schwab. It took me 5 minutes to do the paperwork. And we will be adding a custodian called Apex, and the paperwork will be even easier then because you can go in directly to the Orion platform.
Yeah.
So the paperwork is not, I'm going to say it's a lot less difficult than it was when I opened my Affirmative ESG account. It was very simple. But it will require new signatures.
I mean, if at some point to continue to do this, you're going to need to change custodians. So at some point, you'll have to do new custodial paperwork. But we had a demo of the Apex account opening process a couple of days ago, and it was extremely easy.
Is it digital signatures or do they need wet?
They had digital. She asked about digital signatures.
Yeah, everything is digital.
Everything was digital that we've seen. I guess the only thing I would like to say, I'd like to say two things about this. One was this was a fairly out of the blue decision by Goldman. We were, I won't say it was a tremendous surprise because there was certainly always a question of what Goldman was going to want to do, but basically I got a email in the morning asking me to schedule a phone call in the afternoon. And on the phone call in the afternoon, they gave us this notification. The other thing, though, is I want to give a lot of credit to Teresa, who recognized 5 or 6 months ago that the next generation of SRI and ESG was in the direct indexing marketplace, and she began working on this then. When Open Invest was acquired by Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, excuse me, one of those people. Our friends at Your Stake encouraged quite a few of the people who had been using Open Invest to take a look at First Affirmative. And of course, Open Invest was a far less sophisticated version of what we're going to be able to show you today. But it was also an opportunity to identify that there was business in that marketplace. And so Teresa, again, did all the heavy lifting to get this product ready. So what she's going to show you now, I think you'll find very impressive, and something that I think we would have ended up doing anyway, still in the relatively near future. So, as several people have said to me, this decision at Goldman is really a gift to us to accelerate our movement to next generation product. So with that, I'll just get out of Teresa's way and wait my turn.
Okay, so now on to our planned presentation. So this presentation was virtually complete before we learned from Goldman that they would no longer support affirmative ESG. Today we introduce the next generation of advisor-led, individualized customization, the Custom Direct Index Sustainable Investment Solution. And you can already tell that that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. So if anybody has any suggestions on how we can, make this sound a little more snazzy than Custom Direct Index Sustainable Investment Solution, please let us know. So when I joined First Affirmative 3.5 years ago, I recognized that the future of ESG investing was customized, performance-focused, and advisor-driven. And we set out to build a platform that would enable you to deliver ESG customization to the masses. We introduced affirmative ESG, which was state-of-the-art at the time. Fortunately, as George mentioned, early this year, we recognized that state-of-the-art had moved on, and custom direct indexing is the way forward. In addition to ESG customization, custom direct indexing allows tax management and benchmark flexibility. And these are two things that were not available on the affirmative ESG platform. Also, working with partners like Your Stake and Orion and Apex, we have partners working with us that are completely supportive of the development and the continuous improvement of the product, which we have not been getting from Goldman Sachs since it acquired our former parent company. I can't say the F word, because we've all agreed that First Affirmative will refer to this as a Goldman Sachs decision, and if you say the F word, you must do 10 push-ups. So George is already up to about 40, but I haven't gotten any yet. So by year end, we'll be able to offer this solution, which is our lowest cost, most customizable, highest advocacy, most tax efficient strategy to clients with as little as $25,000 to invest. So we are going to be able to do that as soon as fractional share trading is available on the Orion platform. So I'm just going to start this presentation the way I've started every presentation since I joined First Affirmative, and it's what I start every workday thinking. Our mission is to produce outcome-oriented, sustainable investment solutions to meet our clients' individual financial and impact goals. For more than 30 years, First Affirmative has been innovatively and authentically leading the way in SRI and ESG investing. You all know the definition of the word innovatively. The other day, someone asked me how I define authentically. To me, authentic ESG refers to a true commitment to incorporating environmental, social, and governance factors into investment solutions to make the world a better place. And those last few words are the ones that matter most to us. First Affirmative made this commitment more than 30 years ago, And all of us remain convinced that investors must take responsibility for the impact their money has in the world. And this commitment is really what drives us to seek out the latest technologies to enable your clients to achieve competitive financial returns and align their portfolios with their values. All our sustainable investment solutions reflect our commitments to innovation and authenticity, particularly our custom direct index sustainable investment solution, which we'll demo shortly. We continue to offer 3 sustainable investment solutions: custom, multi-manager, and managed mutual funds. Each of these solutions offers differing degrees of customization, tax efficiency, and cost. The custom solution offers the most customization and tax efficiency and the greatest ability to take advantage of our advocacy effort at the lowest cost. Of course, it's up to all of you, the advisors, to work with your clients to determine which solution is best for them. As we have historically, we continue to offer 7 risk-based investment models. The choice of investment models continues to be driven by your client assessment, and these models range from high risk tolerance to very low risk tolerance, and from aggressive growth to low growth. The expected return of each model is shown here, and before any of you ask, we'll make these 3 slides available in a marketing piece you can share with clients and prospects. So now we move on to our latest innovation, our custom direct index solutions. And I'm going to start with a brief primer on direct indexing because some of you may or may not be familiar with it. First, what is custom direct indexing? Direct indexing attempts to replicate the performance of an index or combination of indices by purchasing the underlying individual securities instead of using an ETF or mutual fund. Custom direct indexes are personalized based on an investor's financial circumstances and impact preferences and can be adjusted as investor circumstances change. Second question, does this mean my client must own every stock in the index? No. In fact, we've been building stocks that are approximately 180, we've been building portfolios that are approximately 180 securities that are extremely well aligned with the characteristics of the benchmark. So using the very sophisticated Northfield optimizer on the Orion platform, we can replicate the performance of an index, custom benchmark, or model with a subset of securities and incorporate client-specific impact preferences and tax considerations. Finally, is direct indexing new? Again, no. Direct indexing has been around for decades. In fact, the Northfield optimizer was introduced in 1986, and I initially began using that optimizer at Scudder and eventually Deutsche Bank in the mid-1990s. Of course, Northfield's optimization technology has continued to advance dramatically, and industry-wide technology advances and industry conditions, including zero commission and fractional share trading, have made custom direct index solutions accessible to a broader range of investors. As George put it last week, we're able to take a 0 off the minimum direct index account with this solution. So what are the benefits of direct indexing? Personalization and tax management are the key benefits of direct indexing. Custom direct indexing can accommodate individual impact preferences, leverage security and sector restrictions, and integrate legacy holdings. Again, a new characteristic of the strategy we're offering here. It can also enable your clients to capitalize on tax loss harvesting opportunities on an automated platform. This chart from a recent Cerulli study on direct indexing shows the tax efficiency and customization across available retail asset management solutions. These are essentially the choices we as fiduciaries have for our clients, ranging from mutual funds to direct indexing, and ranked from tax efficiency based on tax efficiency and customization. As you can see, direct indexing offers the most tax efficiency and customization. Direct indexing separately managed accounts represent $362 billion market at this point. Most of that is in institutional accounts and also for ultra high net worth individuals. Over the past year, some of the biggest players in the asset management industry have acquired direct index providers. Morgan Stanley acquired Parametric. BlackRock acquired Aperio. JP Morgan acquired 55IP and OpenInvest. Vanguard made the first acquisition in its history, buying Just Invest. And Franklin Templeton recently announced that it's buying O'Shaughnessy Asset Management. The asset management industry is moving rapidly from mutual funds and ETFs to direct indexing. What's interesting, as George mentioned, JP Morgan, when it acquired OpenInvest, the first thing it did was give its advisors 15 days notice that they had to find a new home. And as we know, Goldman Sachs will no longer support its digital wealth platform, which included Affirmative ESG. We don't believe independent advisors and their clients should be left behind as the move from mutual funds and ETFs to direct index solutions accelerates. So for the past 6 months, we've been working with our partners at Your Stake and Orion to introduce the next generation technology we're introducing today. You should know that our development timeline was in fact accelerated by JP Morgan's acquisition of OpenInvest. And we've been working very, very hard for the past 3 months or so to get this solution ready for them and for all of you. As a result, this solution is available now to enable you to continue to seamlessly deliver financial and impact performance to your clients. At this point, I'd like to invite my colleague, Rich Frankel, and Patrick Reed and Gabe Reisman, co-founders of Your Stake, to the stage. And they'll talk us through the solution we've developed. Our direct index solution combines First Affirmative's portfolio construction expertise and discretionary investment advisory services, Your Stake's client assessment, data collection and organization, analytics and reporting capabilities, and Orion's state-of-the-art technology to deliver solutions that meet your clients' impact and tax goals. In the next few minutes, we'll walk through the process from client financial and impact assessment through analysis and reporting. I'll turn over to Patrick and Gabe to kick off that discussion.
Hello. So I'm Patrick, and
Hey, I'm
this is
Gabe.
And we are co-founders of Your Stake. And A little bit about us. I'm sure many of you in the room may know who we are. Many of you may not. We are a data company that focuses on helping advisors walk their clients through sustainable investment journey. And we really think about it in three main steps. From the initial conversation, really trying to understand what specific values are important to each client, to then diagnosing portfolios, and then optimizing through research and analysis to create the most impact. And so at a high level, what we're now able to do is include our software solution and data solution with the First Affirmative back office through the Orion integration, so that as you go through a client journey, you can then at the end press a button, send the portfolio that you would like to Rich's team and Teresa's team, and they'll provide you with a incredibly optimized portfolio with tax loss harvesting and the ability to choose sort of arbitrary benchmarks. This is our behavioral questionnaire, where you can go through at this first stage with each client, either at the prospecting stage to do lead generation and send a link to a questionnaire out to folks through your website or email, or have them go through it with you in a conversation. We'll be going, so this is a little hard to read, but we'll have booths set up later today where you can go through and demo and see how it works. And after folks go through this questionnaire, we have what we call the ESG personality types, sort of echoing the Myers-Briggs personality types, where you can see categories that are mapped onto metrics that are able to be reported on and now optimized into a portfolio for each client. This is a customizable step as well. So we curate some defaults that most people seem to like, but you can go in and have the full flexibility, which is shown on this screen here. So we are, as a data company, taking in over 100 different data sources and updating them to keep pace with how the data is being updated in the real world. And you can go in and identify for each client and really fine-tune specifically not just what granular metrics and values are important to them, but which amounts. So if you see there's like different sliders there, and so if you care about bribery and corruption and fraud violations, for example, that can be fine-tuned from whether it's looking at the worst half of companies or the worst quartile. This is a really powerful tool, and it breaks down into the underlying securities, which then get sent to First Affirmative to implement into a portfolio, which they can talk about better how that optimization process occurs. But this is global equities coverage. So you can really choose a blended benchmark. You can choose the world benchmark, or S&P 500. You have a real wide range of possibility based off of the data to tailor a portfolio to specific client risk preferences or allocation preferences. And so at a high level, just a quick recap. You can fit this together with the client onboarding onto the Orion system, then identifying the impact preferences through either the Your Stake questionnaire or going into really fine-grained detail if you want to get into the weeds of picking specific metrics and specific thresholds. So that gets sent via a button to Teresa and Rich, and their team. They optimize it, and then Rich is going to talk about that just now. And then the reports on the impact of that portfolio, you can access not just through the Your Stake platform if you want to interactively and dynamically customize reports among the many different styles that we have. But those can get sent directly to the Orion client dashboard as well. So you can have it set up so that the clients, when they log in to see their quarterly report, have an impact report right there.
And the metrics that are selected for optimization are also the ones that are default reported on. So you're able to tie the construction with the ongoing reporting and keep things consistent.
All right. So this is just a quick rundown of how of an overview of how the entire process is going to work. You create the client-specific values aligned investment universe with Your Stake. That's with all the sliders and all the little toggles in the company screener that they just showed you. Next, you'll select a target benchmark. We actually have a fillable form that I'll be showing people with the demo later that will allow you to tweak these portfolios to an incredibly detailed degree. Next, you set investment strategy and constraints and client preferences. That's also done on the fillable form that we use to decide the benchmark. And just to go deeper into that, the benchmarks that you guys can choose, they can be as detailed as you want. It can be a single index. It can be one of our custom solutions. It can be a combination of multiple indices. You just have to tell us the ratio. We can do anything that you desire with that. And then after that's all set, we optimize the client portfolio. And once that's done, we can begin our analysis of it. Oh, jeez. Wait a minute. This is just kind of a rundown of how we broke everything down for the portfolio we're going to be showing you now. Initially, Initially, we start with a massive initial blended benchmark universe. This was done using the Russell 3000 and the ACWI US, a combination of the two. Then we break that down using the flags given to us by Your Stake. And then that broke down to about 3,000 stocks from 4,600. And then we break that down to 180 stocks, and that's after the optimization. And these are mirroring the benchmarks that we're using pretty much to a T, which can be seen by the tracking error in this slide. It's very low. We've been getting low numbers between 1.7 and 1.3 for the most part, and it's been very accurate. We've been able to constrain cash properly. We've been able to choose any benchmark that we really want. It's an incredible solution that we've been able to create here. And it allows for just so much customization. Now I'm going to hand it back to Your Stake so they can discuss some of their metrics here.
Sure. So these are a couple of slides on some of the styles of reports that we are able to generate based off of the impact of the portfolios. And we were actually, in the most recent T3 Technology Tools for Today Wealth Tech Survey, rated the top ESG and SRI analysis system primarily for these reports. This is a snippet from one of the reports that's going over comparison to the benchmark. So here we're looking at ACWI at a high level of the different categories. You can break it down, but you can, in our interactive system, look at really granular customization of how you want to rearrange how things are bucketed to fit the way you or your clients are thinking about the issues. But as I was saying before, we are a data company at the core. So most of the days we're going out and looking through different publicly available data sets, whether they're from government disclosures or NGO watchdogs or academic sources, and we're collecting and processing that unstructured and semi-structured data to make it usable and useful in this investment process. One thing we don't do is we never pull from voluntarily self-reported company reports, so company sustainability reports and the like, because we find that they often are biased because the companies reporting have a staff member whose job all day is to make themselves look good. So they often, even if the information is accurate, they'll report it in a way that it's cherry picking things that aren't comparable to other companies. And that's why we really focus on getting really high integrity data sets that are from independent third parties that are able to apples compare different company operations on a wide range of issues. Another thing we don't do is we never make up data. It sounds strange to have to say that, but actually a lot of ESG data providers will do that. By like, if there's a gap in data, they'll estimate what it should be based off of similar peers or something. Sounds like George.
They said they use frog DNA to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a Frankenstein operation over there. Yeah, exactly. It's alive. What we can do with the way we collect information is we can go at the sort of benchmark comparison level of these issues compared to the benchmark, and we can go into looking at if you invest X amount of dollars over Y amount of years, how many pigs saved, how many chickens saved, how many cars off the road, how many more meetings led by women, how many fewer asthma attacks. Here's just a screen snippet for this purpose of the slides, but we actually really pride ourselves on being fully transparent. So we're not presenting any black box methodology or complicated methodology for this overall score. On our system, you can actually click into each of these, and it will take you to all of the companies based off of the metric that's generating these outcomes and how we did the chain of conversions, for example, from asthma attacks from the air pollution from all the factories across the country with the specific chemicals listed out, converted based off of the peer-reviewed scientific articles of how air pollution can lead to asthma complications, at what severity, adjusted for population and all of that. The way that we really describe our approach overall is the no score ESG approach. So we're not presenting ever a like you're 4 out of 5 or 4 stars out of 10. It's really giving the advisor the real granular information. So if you present it to a client, it's a really intuitive conversation, but more so if you have a client ever ask a question, you can just click in and see more details of exactly where the data is from, how it's calculated, and it's just all on the screen for you. So you don't even have to worry too much about spending a lot of time reverse engineering MSCI or whatever other score. Go back to Teresa for this one.
Yep. Okay, so now you've heard how we can report directly to clients on the Orion platform from an impact perspective. And you already saw how a solution that took 1,500 stocks out of the investment universe through customization was aligned with the benchmark from a tracking error perspective. Next, we'll just quickly look at a few metrics from a Morningstar report. And this is something that we've run for most of the people in this room as we've built portfolios on the Affirmative ESG platform. And as you can see, that like the portfolios we've been delivering on that platform, this portfolio is extremely well balanced geographically and from the size and style perspectives. The broad sector exposure, despite all of the exclusions incorporated into the portfolio, is also very well aligned with the benchmark. So I'm going to turn briefly to the next thing that really differentiates First Affirmative differentiates our direct index solution Your stake in Orion are key differentiators. Our advocacy effort is absolutely a key differentiator for First Affirmative. Since we were founded in 1988, First Affirmative has walked the talk of socially responsible and sustainable investing. And we view advocacy as the impact of ownership. In this slide, we show the 2021 proxy season, so the one that ended a couple months ago. And as you can see, First Affirmative voted more than 1,000 company meetings in the most recent proxy season and more than 12,200 proposals. This chart also shows, importantly, our votes against management and the things they typically support, like executive compensation and the directors that they select. Finally, we voted 436 proposals that were filed by shareholders and supported 81% of them. Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, JP Morgan, and other large direct index providers would be hard-pressed to show numbers like these for their proxy voting. We also participated in 94 engagements in 2021. 35 of those engagements were related to climate change, 19 to chemical risk, and 19 to paid leave, where we had taken a leadership role in focusing on that as we moved through COVID. We're grateful to our colleague, Holly Testa, for leading this advocacy effort and working with many of her colleagues in the industry to maximize the impact of ownership for your clients. So just to conclude, we really couldn't be more excited about our custom direct index sustainable investment solution and our partnerships with Your Stake and Orion. We believe our offering is truly unique in the marketplace and allows you to offer a superior, low-cost, values-aligned strategy to your clients. Our solution is currently available, as I mentioned earlier, on the Schwab platform. Within a few weeks, we are hoping that it will be available on the Apex platform, which is integrated with Orion and will make account opening seamless. So I would also like to ask you to set an appointment or visit the First Affirmative, Your Stake, and Orion booths so that you can learn more about the integration. And the Your Stake guys have created a video that they'll show you, which shows that integration at work. And it's really phenomenal. We were looking at it on different screens up until this video shows it side by side. So please, talk to them, learn more about it, and if you have any questions, please ask. So at this point, we have probably, we're going to have a 10-minute break, so we can ask other questions during that. So thank you all, and I hope you'll come talk to us about this. Thanks.
So what I'd like to do is run through the First Affirmative update. This, I think, will be a little faster than they historically have been, because I know that historically I usually have 50 or 60 slides, and today I only have 20. So that implies that I will go faster than usual. What I would like to do, if possible, is hold the questions to the end and try and answer anything you might have. So since Teresa always starts her presentation with our mission, I thought I needed to do that too. And so just again, since she already read it, this is our mission. We continue to look at ways to more effectively and efficiently deliver these services. And an awful lot of what I'm going to talk about today is decisions that we made subsequent to the decision for Goldman Sachs to spin First Affirmative out as an employee-owned firm. I'm going to bet that you probably can't see the names on here. I will make these slides available, but this is our current organization chart. We currently have 17 employees at First Affirmative. Plus we have Holly Testa, who is a contractor for us. And, you can see our senior management team is Amy Thacker, Teresa Gussman, Kathy Lewis, and Steve Gonzalez. And, you get a sense of what we currently have. And I think almost everybody will be here at some point during the conference if you haven't met them. We did choose not to fill a couple of vacancies, partly because we expected to have some efficiencies as we converted to Orion. And and also just as to manage our expenses. So I will say that, I'm really looking back about 5 years right now. I mean, 5 years ago this month, we sold First Affirmative to Folio Financial. That doesn't count as a push-up because that's a historical fact. During the last 5 years, we've had several of our long-term leaders retire. Mel Miller, and I will mention this today and I will mention it tomorrow night. Mel Miller is scheduled to have open heart surgery, and he has asked that you consider him in your thoughts and prayers as he goes through this. Kevin O'Keefe, Steve Sheath, will be here. Julie McNamara retired at the end of the year after 27 and a half years with First Affirmative. Julie would have been here, but her niece in Wisconsin passed away unexpectedly. So she was not able to join us. So on the other side, we've added Teresa Gussman, Amy Thacker. Steve Gonzalez was promoted to take Julie's place. Joey Finkbeiner runs our trading side. And then the little girl in the middle is the most recent addition. This is Sarah Driller's baby that was born about a month ago. And Caitlin Mitchell will be also adding a baby sometime in the next few weeks. So, but our commitment to you and your clients hasn't changed. The custom or the belief system of the firm, the climate, remains the same. So I'm going to talk about 2020 a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about a few other things. So 2020, one of the things that I learned, in the Army was, you didn't call things problems. You had opportunities to excel. We were overwhelmed with opportunities to excel in 2020, and as many of you as well. So in February, some of the not embargoes, that's not the word I want, but things started to close down in February of 2020. Of course, in March of 2020, we ended up having like the fastest bear market and recovery in history. And then in May of 2020, Goldman Sachs announced that they were going to buy Folio Financial. Our original response to that was, well, we'd be in a position inside of Goldman Sachs to influence how they did business and to make our services available to a larger number of people. Unfortunately, it relatively quickly became clear that that was not likely to happen. That First Affirmative was not a good fit for Goldman Sachs. And to Goldman Sachs's credit, they agreed and they worked with us on a solution. I think they could just as easily have said, the heck with you guys. So they did work with us. And on September 18th, at 10 minutes until midnight Eastern Time, Goldman Sachs acquired Folio Financial. And on September 18th, at 5 minutes until midnight, Goldman Sachs spun First Affirmative out as an independent employee-owned firm. So I was a Goldman Sachs employee for 5 minutes, as were the rest of our First Affirmative employees. So I haven't seen anybody put that 5 minutes on their resume yet, but during the time that we thought Goldman was going to acquire First Affirmative, that did cause a large amount of disruption to a great number of our advisors. And for that, I still apologize. We did the best we could with what we knew at the time we knew it. We tried to help people make the best decisions possible, but that time when we knew that Goldman was going to buy Folio and we thought we were going to be part of it was a very disruptive time for our business. We did have some advisors and clients leave First Affirmative. We did have clients close accounts. We did have a couple of advisors retire and sell their business to somebody who didn't want to do business with us. And then, of course, we had some reorganization of some of the other firms in the space that are represented here, and creation of new organizations. So all of that went on. And, excuse me, but once the spin out occurred, for the fourth quarter, we had some really important things that we had to take care of. The first thing that we had to do was rebuild our financial statement and unwind it from being a subsidiary of Folio. And we did hire a CPA firm that reviewed our financial statements. We did not do an audit because I was quoted $80,000 to do a full year audit that included the time while we were under Folio. So we chose to have reviewed financials for the period of September 18th until the end of the year. We will probably only have reviewed financials again for 2021. Then we will go back to audited financials in 2022. The next thing that we decided was really important was that we needed a marketing firm. We needed to reorganize the brand. And I don't know, Brad, are you in here? So we hired Brad Bauman and raise your hand again, Brad, so people can see you. And his firm up in Denver. Brad and his firm, I think, have done a terrific job helping us to rebrand the firm. New logo, new look, new style, new website, aggressive press releases, things like that. So that's been good. And then the other thing we decided that we needed to do was to replace Advent Access, which I think everybody knows is a fairly outdated, outmoded product. We spent a couple of months looking at different products in the marketplace, and we decided that the best fit for First Affirmative was Orion Advisor Technologies. So we'll come back to that a little bit. But we did select Orion at the end of the fourth quarter, and we went through the conversion process during this year. So a few other things. Just this is a history of assets under management since the time that we sold to Folio, so that you can see that we made one trip up to about $1.1 billion in assets under management or administration. Then, of course, you remember the market actually went down a fair amount. Then it recovered back again to about 1.1 billion. And of course, I'm just breaking it down here into third-party assets, assets at Folio, and assets at Schwab. Our third-party assets under advisement are primarily Orion Portfolio Services, which used to be FTJ Fund Choice. We also have money on the Genios platform. And so you see that that part of the business has grown. And then when I show the goals, and say Folio and other, because certainly our expectation is that we will grow business on other custodial platforms like Apex, and perhaps TD Ameritrade. But you can see that, again, after in Q4 of 2019, we hit $1.1 billion. The COVID market dropped us down. Then the Goldman announcement, you can see, dropped us down. See, this one doesn't have one of the cool little laser pointers on it. So then, of course, we became independent and have started to grow back again. And then I'll show you our goals for 2022 and 2023 to get back above $1.2 billion in assets. Another thing one of the things that was important to us when we sold to Folio was that we maintained our status as a B Corp. And so First Affirmative LLC always existed as a separate entity, wholly owned by Folio, and then, of course, spun back out to employee ownership. And so we were able to maintain our B Corp status during the entire time that we were owned by Folio. Our scores did go down a little bit because Folio had some things that they would not report on, and but we still maintained our good status. And then after we spun back out and became 100% employee owned, we regained our status as best for the world, which we had been 5 times before. And so we're very proud to be back at the best for the world status in certified B Corp. So now what I want to take a moment is, now we're not going to do like we've done in the past and ask each one of you to come up and get a certificate and everything, but I do want to recognize our top advisors for 2021. Gary Matthew retains the crown as our largest advisor. Gary was unable to be here this year. Second is Colin Todd. Colin's wife is about 8.5 months pregnant, so he is not able to attend. Hal Brill is third. Hal also, for health reasons, was not able to attend. I don't know who this guy is, number 4, but Wade Smith, who's been able to join us again at number 5. Harry Moran. I don't know. Maybe you guys should wave or something when I say your name. There he is. There's Harry. Jan Bryan. Yay, Jan. Jim Warlicker. See, this way I don't get tackled on the stage. Eric Smith. Bruce Herbert. There's Bruce. I think Eric is at the National Investments meeting this morning. Oh, you are here, great. Jim Frazen, who has a bat mitzvah this weekend, so he was unable to attend. Scott Butfield. You, okay. Pam Stamper Brandt, David Benke Sieper, Laura Eisnook, Bob Dreisler, Brenda Morris, David Roth, Brenda Lenz, and Bob Pajak. So that's our top group. And I do have a couple of Rising Star Awards because I always like to give out Rising Star Awards. So our number 2 Rising Star for 2021 is Christian Stearns. So Christian, if you would come up. So, of course, I don't think I have anybody take our picture, but anyway, but congratulations. Here's your work. Christian started working with us about 2 years ago, right? A little bit over 2 years ago, down in Florida. So we needed somebody in Florida. Christian's a Air Force Academy graduate, so I can tolerate that. So thank you, Christian. We appreciate you. And one of the things, Christian, when we make a post on LinkedIn, Chris is always the first person that likes it and reposts it. So that's part of the reason he got the award. Our other rising star is David Roth. So David's been a little bit longer. Congratulations, thank you. And of course, David is part of a team, so I didn't put both names on there, but I should probably have done that. So I apologize, Michaelina, and I probably didn't even pronounce your name right either, but but thank you. David's team has been doing a terrific job up in Northern Oregon, and we very much appreciate it. So a few other things that we decided to do this year. I think as everybody knows, we had a large number of fee structures and a large number of payout structures that just kind of got more confusing over time. So we made the decision to rationalize our fee structure and to get out of the business of telling you how much money you're allowed to make if you decide to work with us. And so essentially, another thing we decided to do was reduce the number of breakpoints. So what we wanted to do was simplify our fees as much as we could. So as you can see, we only have 3 breakpoints now. Our services for fiduciary services, which include the Orion Advisor platform, start at 31 basis points. And this is based on a thorough analysis of our financial condition and basically how much we need to bring in to pay the bills. Yeah. And so a couple of break points. We also added non-fiduciary services, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, at a slightly lower price point. And then we are now making it so the advisor can fill in the blank as to how much the advisor wants to be paid. We also renegotiated our custody agreement with Goldman Sachs. And so instead of it being at the client by client level, it is enterprise every month. Goldman adds up how much money we have on their platform, and sends me a bill. At Schwab, we still are working on a ticket charge basis for institutional class mutual funds. I don't know when or if we're going to be able to resolve and simplify that. We reduced our charge for MLT for our advisors, model managers from 40 basis points to 35. And so just across the board, it's much easier to understand the fees. As I said, you have the ability to identify how much you want to make. Now, the main thing I will say is this is not something that we just are automatically going to change. This is what's in the ADV going forward. If you want to change existing clients' fee schedules and compensation, you're going to have to do that in an updated agreement. So, because some clients are better off staying where they are, and some clients will be better off with the new fee structure. Just for those who missed it, at the beginning of Teresa's presentation, on October 5th, Goldman Sachs notified us that they were exercising their 6-month notice that they were not going to continue to develop the DWP platform, digital wealth platform, which is the underpinning of affirmative ESG product. They told me that they are not going to turn it off, but they're not going to continue the development of the product. They do intend to deliver other services on their product, on their platform. It's Goldman's desire to be a competitive custodial platform. We'll see how that works. And it doesn't affect the rest of our custodial relationship with Goldman. So as we said, we'll continue to offer MLT accounts and managed mutual fund accounts, but not using the affirmative ESG engine. I will emphasize that the portfolio construction engine always continued to deliver good quality portfolios. So the accounts that have been opened have good quality portfolios, but they are not going to develop the automated reoptimization that was in our original expectations. So as Teresa said, for the next 6 months, if you want to reoptimize an affirmative ESG account, we'll have to do a manual process to do that. After 6 months, I can't say for sure what that will mean. Like I said, they told us they were not going to turn it off. But we do recommend that as soon as we have Apex up and running with fractional shares, accounts of any size, you ought, in affirmative ESG, you ought to consider moving over to Apex. We can do accounts of $250,000 or more on the new platform at Schwab. So at any rate, as we mentioned earlier, but if you weren't here when we did, Teresa had identified about 6 months ago that direct indexing was essentially becoming very much the wave of the future, especially based on commission-free trading and the availability of fractional shares. And she began working with the Orion team and the Urstake team to develop our new product, which is Direct Index Sustainable Investment Solutions. As we said, we're open to a new name. We don't know if DXSIS is the right name, but Teresa started working on this, and then when Open Invest was acquired by JP Morgan, and JP Morgan immediately told all the advisors using Open Invest to find a new home. And we were, thank you. This Joey is just a good man. We had conversations with 6 or 7 advisors that were having to leave Open Invest, and we determined that speeding up the development of this direct index solution was the thing that we really needed to do. So, I think the point to make, no, I haven't seen anyone else in the direction that we went, which was from being owned by a big firm back to being independent again. All the other activity that we're seeing is smaller, specialized firms being acquired by bigger firms. And I think especially, as Teresa mentioned, Vanguard has never in its history made an acquisition. Now they did negotiate with Folio Financial for a while, but chose not to acquire them. But for Vanguard to make an acquisition is a pretty big deal since they've never done one before. And they acquired Just Invest, which is a firm that had been here at the conference before this, located out in the Bay Area. And but everything has been going in this direction of big firms acquiring smaller firms. So, and all the ones that were acquired were in the direct indexing space. So now let me talk about non-fiduciary services a little bit. Again, our goal at First Affirmative has been to rationalize and standardize our offering. At the same time, we recognize that individual advisors sometimes, and some clients, want to do something that doesn't fit into the rationalization and that we wanted to accomplish. And we felt that the best choice would be to find a way to let advisors who were RIAs themselves take advantage of the relationship with First Affirmative, but be able to do what they wanted to do. So we have added non-fiduciary services for people who are our investment advisory representatives of other advisory firms that have agreements with us. Just as you can, if you have 100 accounts with First Affirmative and you want to make one of them a non-fiduciary account, you can do that. If you want to make every account that you have with First Affirmative non-fiduciary, you can do that. But it's essentially intended for when an advisor or a client wants to do something outside the scope of the more standardized procedures and services that First Affirmative is giving. So if you want to use a model manager that's available on the Goldman platform, but that First Affirmative isn't currently using, you can do that. If you want to have extra security exclusions, though we will still continue to say that we think this is a bad idea. If for some reason, though, that's what you want to do or your client wants to do, to add security exclusions to an account, you can do that on a non-fiduciary basis. If you want to create your own custom mutual fund models, you can do that. And if you want to use products that we haven't done due diligence on, but you have, you can do that. So there is different documents for the non-fiduciary services. As I said, the cost for our service is a little bit lower. You still get Orion, and you still get our proxy voting if you elect. So real quick, we will continue to do the things on the left-hand side, administration, collect fees, pay advisors, give you access to our due diligence, place non-discretionary directed trades, vote proxies based on our guidelines if that's what you choose, provide access to the Orion administrative services, and give you some training on how to do some of the things that we've been doing for you that you will now have to do for yourself. We're not going to perform discretionary trades. We're not going to do the investment policy statements. We're not going to create custom allocations, and we're not going to create custom model portfolios. To go back to advocacy, again, Teresa covered this. We're very proud of our advocacy efforts. Holly has been doing this for us for about 12 years and is she's an expert in this. She's well respected in the industry, and she helps individual clients who want to file a resolution. She works with our partners in the industry. We help write letters. We did some specialized research on sick leave policies and COVID. And we did some, we update our proxy voting guidelines every year. So I have summarized our voting a little bit different than the slide Teresa had. We supported 81% of shareholder resolutions this year. And at any rate, we filed. These are our lead filed or co-filed. As you can see, most of them were withdrawn. And again, for those of you who are not real familiar with shareholder resolutions, when one is withdrawn, that is normally a positive thing. It means that the company has agreed to take the actions that you're recommending rather than put it to a vote. So we had 5 withdrawn. We had one that the SEC challenged that we did not feel we were in a position to fight the SEC about. And then we had one where we got 36% of the vote. There's a lot going on in the advocacy space. I'm going to leave it to our speakers during the rest of the conference to talk to you about what's going on and what are the challenges against it. I would say that we did join the legal coalition and donated some money to support the legal action that's being mounted against the SEC on their proposals to change the rules. And then again, we worked with COVID corporate nights to take a look at sick leave policies and identify companies that didn't have good quality sick leave policies to take care of families during the pandemic. Orion, I want to just talk about Orion for a few minutes. There's 2 parts to, there's Orion Portfolio Services, which is the old FTJ fund choice, which is where we have models that are available to representatives who work with Orion can have access to our mutual fund models. Then there's Orion Advisor Technology, which is the product we chose to replace Advent Access. So first, Tricia and Edward, are you here? I don't see them. They probably got lost. Yeah, they probably are setting up their booth. That's probably it. Anyway, we have two people from Orion here to answer questions, do demos, etc. Tricia Drexel and Edward Sempek. So their booth, I think, is pretty close to our booth over in the exhibit hall. So we turned off Axis on September 30th, and we stopped paying any of the fees associated with Advent Axis product. We officially activated Orion on September 8th. We did do the September 30th billing on using the Orion platform. We turned on the advisor portals on September 21st, and a fairly large number of advisors have at least logged in using their portal. Still some haven't. If you haven't and would like to, we can help you get set up. We are identifying additional areas for training. Probably the thing that is the farthest away from ready is the performance history, or the composite performance. But we're working on that. We have a template for quarterly performance reports that we've created that we'll use to generate, hopefully, this quarter's performance reports. We will get the client portal set up in the very near future and intend to deliver the performance reports to the portals. And then, as we've discussed, Apex is coming on board with Orion with automated account opening and fractional shares. Orion also has something on their platform that's called Orion Planning. It was part of, they acquired another firm called Advisor, Advyzor, I think it was. And they also acquired Hidden Levers a couple of months ago. And so through Orion Planning, you can access Hidden Levers. Hidden Levers is how we're going to do our investment policy statements going forward. We bought 3 enterprise level licenses for Hidden Levers, and we bought 20 licenses for advisors, which we intend to make available to our top 20 advisors if they want them, and if not, then, you know, what else. But so that's where we're going to, as soon as everything is set up, we'll start doing our investment policy statements using Hidden Levers. There is a financial planning module. There also are connections to other financial planning like Money Guide Pro. What your client will see is your name, your logo, your colors, so that this is co-branded. So, but they will see your information. There is document storage, way to put documents on in their vault. You know, there is an awful lot of stuff that's available that takes a little while to learn. Of course, the next tool that we'll be using probably will be the RMD tools, because we're in the 4th quarter and we've got to make sure all of our clients do their required minimum distributions. You'll be able, if you want to, there are several ways where you can directly connect with your client. For example, if the client wants to, you know, set up a video chat with you, they can do that. You can actually do webinars and things, put it on the system. And I have not looked at the mobile app, so I can't, all I know is they have a mobile app. But hopefully these 2 people that are here will be able to tell you about that. So, I'm now ahead of schedule, ready to take questions or share cool thoughts. So, anybody have any questions for me? Yes, Jim.
When will the transition to using hidden levers create IPSs switch to Genesis or old school small management fund account?
As best I could tell, the question was when will we start using hidden levers, both for new accounts and to update the existing investment policy statements for our existing accounts. So is that the question?
Yes, I'll take off on that.
Okay.
It's specifically about the old accounts, managed mutual fund accounts as well, in particular.
Okay.
But other old accounts as well, and when they'll move from the Genesis system to hidden levers.
Yeah. Well, Genesis actually turned off on September 30th. We were apparently the only people still using that technology, and so when we told them we were going to stop, they said fine, was because we were going to turn it off anyway. Joey has been working the most with the hidden levers people on getting some training. I would expect we have another hidden levers training session scheduled in a couple of weeks. I would expect that at least the enterprise licenses will be able to start doing it between now and Thanksgiving. And the advisor level licenses, I can't tell you right now what the difference in functionality is in an advisor license than the enterprise license. So we'll have to make those available to you. But if you need one done initially, we can do it on the enterprise license. But the 20 people that get the advisor level licenses, I would hope by the end of the year. Any other questions? Okay, well, like I said, we're confronted with insurmountable opportunities. The thing that I feel good about was that we were able to remain proactive. Getting out from under Goldman allowed us to take control of our destiny again. And, I'm very pleased that we've been able to identify ways to improve our service, improve our investment process, and help you serve your clients better. The first breakout session of ESG for Impact is scheduled to start at 10:45. The breakout, there are 3 rooms. One of the breakout rooms is on the 2nd floor of Broadmoor Hall. The other 2 breakout rooms are in Bartleton Hall, which is the new building to the left of Broadmoor Hall. You can either access it by, we really can't. There's another event in Broadmoor Hall A, and we're in Broadmoor B. So to get to Bartleton Hall, you have to go outside and go to your left, and then into Bartleton Hall, and then go upstairs, and there's a breakout room on the left and a breakout room on the right. And I believe we have signs that will tell you how to find them. We do have, I believe, 8 sessions approved for continuing education for CFPs, 2 plenary sessions, and 6 breakout sessions. So if you're a CFP and you want to get your credit, make sure you check on the sign in and sign out processes. And I'll be here all week. Tip your waiters. have a fun time. Thank you, everyone.